If you can't afford a Tissot, get this $100 watch instead. That's what a ton of Redditors online have been parroting. So, in this review, I'll be putting those hefty claims to the test. So unfortunately, after reviewing one of Specht and Sohnõ's other integrated bracelet watches, I was severely disappointed. So hopefully, this watch can redeem the brand. And as a bonus for you all, I will be comparing this $100 watch to my $400 Namoki PRX homage. This watch is nicely packaged considering it's only $100, but I think they actually overdid it because it took me almost 3 minutes to take all the plastic off. This comes with a yellow microfiber cloth, a weird $680 price tag, a bracelet tool, and a warranty card. This is 11.6 millimeters thick, 42.6 millimeters from lug to lug, 39.7 millimeters with the crown in diameter, 36.8 millimeters without the crown, 34.4 millimeters for the bezel, and a bracelet that tapers from 24.3 millimeters to 17.8 millimeters. This watch comes with an NH35 and it comes with a sapphire crystal with 50 meters of water resistance. So these are some pretty good specifications for a watch at this price point, with the exception of maybe the 50 meters of water resistance. But personally, I mean, the deepest I'm gonna go is to the depths of the pool floor, and I think that this can withstand it. Now, mind you, when it comes to these Chinese companies, you can't exactly trust their stated water resistance claims. That's something to keep in mind, but once again, it's not a huge deal breaker for me. So just for complete transparency, Specht and Sohnë did send over this watch and I don't have to send it back, but of course that doesn't mean that they have any input on this content whatsoever. My thoughts are completely my own. So the stars of the show for any integrated bracelet sport watch tends to be the case and bracelet, and this watch is no exception. Now I can't exactly give Specht and Sohnë kudos for the ingenious design language because they quite literally just copied and pasted Tissot's PRX watch design. But what I can applaud them for is for executing that design to a high standard. This watch comes with fully solid stainless steel links and fully solid stainless steel end links, and fortunately, unlike the Royal Chronometer homage, this bracelet actually conforms and it articulates so that it fits your wrist properly. Also, the bezel on this watch has a nice rose gold tint, which I think adds a nice pop of color to this watch. Another thing I really appreciate about this watch is the high-end finishing. So the top surface of the bracelet and the case are both vertically brushed, and the sides of the case are also brushed, but the sides of the bracelet are polished. So I guess there is an incongruity there, but it's not too much to complain about, especially at this $100 price point. And the clasp is also fully polished. Another thing to note is that on the flanks of this watch, which are also known as the sides of the watch, there is some englage on the side of the case, which is really nice to see at this low price point. And the last thing I want to mention is the lack of sharp edges on this watch. So unlike some other watches I reviewed at this affordable price category, this watch is very, very smooth, and I have not found any part of this watch design to be sharp. So that is great, again, to see at this lower price point. If you're enjoying this video, I would heavily recommend hitting that like and subscribe button and hitting the notifications bell to get notified on the latest videos. And just as a quick little sneak peek, the next video will be me building a Submariner homage, so stay tuned for that. Also, if you're enjoying this channel, I would heavily recommend checking out the Time Ticker team membership. You have priority replies to comments, you get more life updates, and you get early access to videos. And the last thing I want to mention is that if you're watching this video, you're probably at least just a tiny bit interested in this watch. And so I will leave some affiliate links in the description down below, which basically means that if you use those links, you'd be supporting the channel at no extra cost to you. The bracelet, for the most part, is really, really good. The only complaint I have is that it tends to kind of crumple up, and when it does, it keeps its shape, which is very unfortunate. The good news though is that you can just pull it back down and it kind of bends back to where it was before quite easily. Now the next downside that I think is worth mentioning is the counterbalance. So the counterbalance on the second hand is very, very similar in shape to the hour hand. Now it is a little bit shorter, but you know, when you're not paying attention to your watch, you might read it the wrong way and think that the counterbalance is actually the hour hand. Your mileage may vary. You might look at your watch for a bit longer and realize that it's moving, so it's probably not the hour hand, but that's something I think is worth mentioning. This dial has like a silvery metallic look to it with a waffle pattern in the center. This also has an accented pink handset with pink indices, and I think that it complements this watch very well because it's quite subtle. It is not a very vibrant pink. It is more akin to a very light rose gold, and I think the framing of the date window, the rose gold bezel, the rose gold bordered indices, and the rose gold bordered handset, they all just work so well together. They're so cohesive, and I think it just adds that subtle je ne sais quoi to a watch dial. As I mentioned before, it has a metallic look to it, and I think with certain dials, certain waffle patterns, you can pull it off. But the problem is, I think the execution of this dial was not done to the greatest standard. This might be a little nitpicky, but it can look a little bit cheap. And if you don't like this dial color, it comes in a few other dial colors that you can check out. I believe it comes in green, it comes in blue, red, so that's something to note. The wearing experience on this watch has been pretty much nothing but positive because it's a PRX homage. There's no sharp edges. It is pretty nice on the wrist. It feels good. The articulation of the links help with the comfortability, and it pairs with virtually any outfit I can think of because it has a white dial. I think that this could definitely be your everyday watch. Maybe not a go everywhere, do anything watch because of the lower water resistance, but I think for the majority of people, you're not going to be going swimming on the day-to-day. So I think that this could be a go anywhere in the city, do anything in the city or suburb type watch. This watch has quite mediocre lume, and I think I would actually consider that as one of the downsides to this watch. Now, it does technically have lume, but it's definitely not something I would rely on if I was in an environment where I would actually need to use luminescent material to tell the time. And in terms of legibility, that is another thing that I would keep in mind before purchasing this watch. The handset is partially white and the dial is silvery white. So again, kind of distinguishing the two can be a little bit challenging. But in order to avoid that downside, you can purchase this watch with a different dial. The major difference between my Namoki NRX, aka the PRX homage, and the Specht and Sohnë PRX homage is the building aspect of the watch. So with Namoki, you get a kit that has all the parts you need to build your own watch, and you get the experience of putting together your own watch, which I think is so rewarding. And on top of that, it kind of just shifts your mindset when you look at other watches. For instance, as I mentioned before, I am not a huge fan of this counterbalance. Because I have learned how to assemble my own watch, I now have the ability to disassemble this watch and replace the hands. And I think that is a valuable skill, and it opens your mind to the possibility of customizing your watch to your every little nuanced preference. It adds a whole other dimension to this watch hobby, and I'd definitely recommend checking out NamokiMods. Both of these watches have a sapphire crystal, both of them have an NH35. The NamokiMods, however, has screw links versus this Specht and Sohnë with pin links. Screw links tend to be of higher quality than pin links, so they are probably more secure than these pin links. Another thing that I noticed is actually this bracelet is a lot lighter than the NamokiMods bracelet, and that is all kind of personal preference. Both are fully solid stainless steel links, and both come in at 37 millimeters in diameter. The dial on this watch is executed to an okay extent, really good for this price point, but I definitely think that NamokiMods dial is a lot better quality than this dial. With all of that said, I will leave some affiliate links to NamokiMods in the description down below. I'd heavily recommend checking out some of my reviews on their watch kits and their parts, because I have made every mistake you possibly can make, and that's completely unintentional, but I've documented it all in those videos. So if you want to avoid those mistakes, I'd heavily recommend checking those out. If you use TimeTaker 5 or TimeTaker 10 at checkout, you'll get 5 to 10% discount depending on the product, and you're supporting the channel and you're getting a cool watch kit out of it. I want to thank Dean Woods for being the first member of the TimeTaker team. It really means a lot. With all of that said, I want to thank you so much for watching this video to the very end. I really, really appreciate it. And I want to thank you once again. I mean, I'm just someone talking about watches in my living room, and it's crazy to me that people are watching these videos, but I'm very, very thankful that you guys do. And as always, I hope that this watch channel patinas like your favorite watch. I will see you on another episode on the Time Ticker.